Hello, I'm Doug Hooker, Executive Director for the Atlanta Regional Commission, or ARC. ARC is the transportation planning agency for the Atlanta region. In that role, the agency develops a long-range regional transportation plan. Our current 25-year plan calls for many investments in our transportation system, but not nearly enough to keep up with the demands that we expect to be created by 3 million more residents moving here in that same time. Today, I want to tell you about a new opportunity for additional funding for our mobility needs, the Regional Transportation Referendum, which is up for a vote on July 31st of this year. If you commute to work each day, it probably looks something like this. If you don't, count yourself lucky because this is a typical day for hundreds of thousands of us around Metro Atlanta. And while time wasted in traffic is certainly a personal issue, sometimes we need to get out of our own cars and think about congestion on a larger scale. After all, roads, rail lines, and sidewalks don't stop at county lines or at your destination. In fact, did you know that 64% of all commute trips taken each day cross county lines? Okay, so congestion is a problem in Metro Atlanta. Who didn't know that? But how did it get this way? Primarily two reasons: lack of funding and growth brought about by our own success. First, about the funding. Almost all federal and state transportation money comes from gas taxes we pay at the pump. Since 1980, the fuel efficiency of the average car sold in America has increased by 40%. On top of that, Georgia has not increased its motor fuel excise tax since 1971. How many of us could live today on the same budget we had in 1971? To complicate matters further, Metro Atlanta has been a magnet for job seekers and employers for decades now, and as a result, we've gained 1 million new residents in just the last 10 years. Our transportation network has not been able to keep up with the population boom. And just as cars will continue to get more efficient, our region will continue to grow. Metro Atlanta is now home to more than 5 million residents. Here at ARC, we forecast that 3 million more people will live here by 2040. That's like adding the entire state of Arkansas or the entire state of Mississippi to the region. If we don't expand our transportation system, how will we get around? This is not just a problem for the future. According to the most recent Texas Transportation Institute study, reduced funding combined with our growth has led to Metro Atlanta having the 9th worst congestion of major metro areas in the country today. We are not investing enough to change that. Over the last several years, Georgia has averaged 48th in transportation spending per resident. This limited ability to expand the network has created bottlenecks. We are home to 7 of the country's worst freeway bottlenecks, including I-285 and I-85 on the north side, commonly called Spaghetti Junction, I-285 and I-75 and Windy Hill Road, and I-285 and I-20 on the west side of the metro region. While bottlenecks occur at real crossroads, today our region is at a figurative crossroad. The Regional Transportation Referendum in July offers a bold choice. The 1% sales tax, if approved by the voters of Metro Atlanta, would provide a new method of financing our transportation system to meet our growing needs. Metro Atlanta has made bold decisions in the past, including the decision to build Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, now the busiest in the world and a major driver of our economy. The decision made on this referendum may rank as the same type of bold decision needed to keep Metro Atlanta competitive in the future. So here are the nuts and bolts of the Regional Transportation Referendum. The General Assembly passed the Transportation Investment Act in 2010. The law divides the state into 12 regions. Each region has the opportunity to vote for or against the referendum. If passed, the referendum provides each region with a 10-year 1% sales tax for transportation improvements. 100% of the revenue raised in each region will stay in that region and be invested there. The tax cannot go beyond 10 years, and it stops early if the projected revenue is collected. The state estimates that the 10-county Atlanta metro region will generate roughly $8.5 billion during that time. 85% of the revenue will be used to fund regional projects. The other 15% will be divided up among the local governments around the region for local transportation projects. In Metro Atlanta, the 85% will fund 157 regional projects. These projects were determined by a regional transportation roundtable composed of local elected officials from the 10-county region. These officials heard from more than 200,000 residents during the process of choosing those projects. Here, you will see Rockdale County Commission Chairman Richard Oden and Conyers Mayor Randy Mills answering questions during their telephone town hall meeting. To help ensure your money is being spent properly, the law calls for the creation of a citizens review panel made up of residents of the Atlanta region. This panel will monitor the progress of the projects as well as the spending and report to the legislature and the public at least once a year. However, the panel will also maintain a website to update the public more frequently. You're probably wondering what your life will be like if the region does not pass the referendum. Well, first, you will keep that 1 penny on the dollar in your wallet. Secondly, without the funds from the regional transportation referendum, there will be about $13.2 billion in transportation investments made during the next 10 years from traditional sources like the federal government. That's assuming those budgets are not cut. As you can see on this chart, however, most of that money, about 70%, will be spent to simply keep our existing transportation system in good condition. Not very much of it will be available for expansion or new projects in the system. The referendum, if passed, would add $8.5 billion to the mix, or an increase of 64%. With the referendum funding, our region can build a set of priority projects sooner at a cheaper cost, rather than waiting 20 or 30 years to get those same projects done. And we can enjoy the benefits of less congestion, a boost to our economy, and most importantly, spending more time with our families and friends rather than being stuck in traffic. The referendum would fund 157 projects all around the region. These include 165 miles of new or expanded roadways, 57 miles of new rail and bus rapid transit, 14 major interchange repairs, and miles of new sidewalks and multi-purpose trails. Not to mention $1.3 billion that will go back to cities and counties for local transportation improvements. In short, there is something on this list that helps all of us. ARC has spent several months analyzing all of these projects and meeting with regional and state economists to determine the economic impacts of building them. We conservatively estimate that by the year 2040, some additional 200,000 jobs will be created and or supported by constructing these projects and realizing their ripple effects. Jobs that will be created by the actual construction projects, thereby giving an immediate shot in the arm to the region's economy, and also jobs that will come into the region or stay in the region because of the improved traffic situation. The region's gross domestic product will increase by $34 billion. And because many of the jobs created and supported will be high-paying jobs, we also estimate that personal income in the region will increase by $18 billion. Regional residents, like you and me, will collectively save $9 billion because we are wasting less fuel and less time. There will be a 24% average decrease in future travel delays because of the road widenings, new construction, and improved interchanges. This saves us time and money, and also saves businesses money as employees and freight move more quickly and reliably through the region. Of course, building these projects will benefit more than just the economy. These combined projects will reduce vehicle emissions by 1.2 million pounds each day. That's like taking 72,000 cars off of the road every day. This leads to cleaner air for all of us, but especially for children, seniors, and others who are more at risk for asthma and other respiratory illnesses. All of these benefits are due to reduced congestion. We often talk about congestion on interstates. However, some of our worst congestion occurs on other key streets that get us from our neighborhoods to the freeways and other destinations throughout the region. Some of the most efficient and effective ways to improve these roads are what we call operational projects. Operational projects include things like retiming signals and implementing smarter systems that can adjust to changing traffic conditions, thereby improving traffic flow by as much as 15%. In some instances, drivers have seen travel time savings of up to 40%. Taken as a whole, building these 157 projects will enable more potential workers to reach the region's major employment centers in a reasonable amount of time. Employers say that 45 minutes is the magic number for an employee's commute time when it comes to their ability to attract and to retain employees. What you see here is a map that shows how many workers can reach the Cumberland Galleria area in 45 minutes or less today, shown in blue, versus after the project list is completed, shown in red. Because this is a heavily populated area, it doesn't take a dramatic increase in the size of the affected area to bring a lot more potential employees, about 117,000, to Home Depot, Coca-Cola Enterprises, the Weather Channel, and other major employers in 45 minutes or less. Making employment centers like Cumberland Galleria more accessible to more people attracts new employers who need that convenient talent pool to draw from. Expansion of existing transit and the creation of new transit lines will put even more workers within reach of employment centers. ARC estimates that 223,000 more potential workers could reach one of the region's largest employment centers, the Emory CDC Clifton Corridor area, by transit within 45 minutes, than can do so now. Okay, so you've heard a lot of facts and figures from me. What all of this really boils down to is keeping our Atlanta region competitive and on the move. Many other metro areas around the United States have chosen to pursue funding their transportation needs and enhancing their economic competitiveness through referendums similar to this. Regions like Dallas, Denver, Phoenix, Charlotte, Minneapolis, Seattle, and Salt Lake City have all passed sales tax referendums in the past few years and are already building new transportation systems. In deciding whether to fund Metro Atlanta's regional transportation needs through this regional transportation referendum, we should remember that while we're making this big decision here in Metro Atlanta, similar decisions are being made all across the United States. So what choice will voters have to make? Is it worth an extra penny on your dollar to fund the projects needed to improve our transportation system today, rather than waiting 20 or 30 years? We know that our metro area will continue to grow and our traffic congestion will increase. We know that we must improve our transportation system in order to keep up with our competitors. Infrastructure investments will boost our economy by saving us time and money. And we know that all of us want less time on the road and more time at home with our families and friends. You do have an important choice to make. Please vote on July 31st. Thank you for joining me today. If you have questions, I encourage you to continue exploring this website or contact the Atlanta Regional Commission for more information.